Many of the foundational texts of the modern world have not been written by individuals, but negotiated by groups of people in formal settings. This class of document includes treaties between nations, texts such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, negotiated at the United Nations between 1946 and 1948, innumerable pieces of legislation negotiated in the world's legislative assemblies, or constitutions, such as the one negotiated by the American states in the Constitutional Convention of 1787.
In these formal settings, draft documents are introduced, proposals are made to change them, and votes are taken on each proposal. Drafts of texts at various stages may be passed to subcommittees to consider. The final text is a product of hundreds or even thousands of proposals and votes taken over the course of weeks, months, or years. The records left by this process can be hard to understand.
Typically, the journals published after such negotiations are a record of the proposals made and votes taken, sometimes with a near verbatim record of what was said, but more often with concise descriptions of debate. The principal purpose of these records is to help those involved in the discussions keep track of the process of negotiation in which they are immersed. Intelligibility for later audiences is only a secondary concern. To fully understand how such negotiated texts are created, it is necessary to understand both the sequence of proposals and votes, the timeline of events, and the hierarchy of decision-making, as proposed amendments are themselves amended and amended before being finally accepted or rejected. The American Constitution is a relatively short document, but even the records of its negotiation, which occurred between May and September 1787, tax the memory of the reader. For example, the journal for the 12th of July 1787 opens, "It was moved and seconded to add the following clause to the last resolution agreed by the House respecting the representation in the first branch of the legislature of the U.S., namely, provided always that direct taxation ought to be proportioned according to representation." What had already been agreed at that moment, and how significant was this change compared to what was already agreed? What other amendments had already been proposed for consideration? Unless the reader has read the records from the beginning and carefully tracked these issues, it is difficult to be certain. And if an author wishes to explain the significance of this proposal, it can take many pages of text to properly describe the context in which it was made. To take this particular example, a reader coming to the records for the first time, hoping to understand the decisions made about the federal government's ability to tax American citizens, would have a daunting task ahead.
By contrast, the Quill Project can make the context immediately clear. By tracking the proposals made and votes taken, our platform offers the reader the ability to see a reconstruction of the papers that were under consideration for any moment of the convention that might be of interest. Here is our presentation of the records for 12th July and that same proposal. Along the top is the timeline of events for that session. Down the left-hand side of the screen, we present a list of the documents that the convention was considering at that moment, and a list of the proposals that had not yet been resolved one way or another. In the centre of the screen, we present a view of the document under discussion with this proposed amendment. We can also display only the text that has been definitely agreed at this point,
or a view highlighting the words that this particular proposal would change.
On the right, we offer a series of additional tools for the user.
One of the most interesting of these is the document complexity tree, which shows all of the proposals and decisions that have formed the document into its current state. The proposal under discussion appears highlighted at the top.
Or, if the user wishes to see the original manuscripts, we can make it easy for them to find those resources too. Of course, this level of detail might not be appropriate for all tasks.
We offer several tools to help researchers and readers understand the work of the convention. A view aimed especially at new users or those seeking an overview of the process is the Secretary's Desk.
This combines a list of all of the convention's subcommittees, a sense of when they met, and a timeline of the individual sessions for any committee. The user can see the state of play at the end of any selected committee session, the closest possible approximation of the state of the papers on the Secretary's desk at the end of that session. Just as in the more detailed view, we display a list of documents under discussion, this time indicating any whose text is altered by that day of debate, and any unresolved proposals that relate to a selected document. If users want more detail, they can easily click through to the more detailed session view. Readers might want more of a sense of the structure of decision-making within the convention as a whole. We can display the flow of documents between committees, or a display representing the overall hierarchy of decision-making within a process of negotiation. We can summarize quickly for users a sense of the alliances within a convention, or a sense of which delegations are most active and successful. Users who want to investigate the work of particular individuals or delegations can also find presentations of when they made their interventions, or whether they were on the winning or losing sides of particular votes. We also aim to encourage more precise and detailed writing on the work of the convention. Commentary collections by a variety of authors dealing with particular topics provide an alternative way of navigating the collection. Explanatory text can be linked to any object in our platform.
Whether readers are looking to investigate particular topics, or the role of particular individuals, or simply get a sense of the overview of a formal process of negotiation, the Quill platform offers tools to suit a variety of needs and different levels of expertise.